everybody, and welcome to Watch Me Go Broke. Welcome today to my review of the Lorier Hyperion, which I have had in my possession since Christmas Eve of last year. So this is about 4 months, I guess, that I've had this watch in my regular rotations. So it's not just a quick review. You're going to get an honest opinion of this particular watch. I'm not affiliated with Lorier in any way. They haven't done anything for me other than provide really great customer service if I did have an issue. But first things first, on my wrist today is going to be the Tissot PRX Powermatic 80. And I know you're thinking, what? I thought you said you hated the Tissot PRX. Well, no, I didn't. I had problems with the quartz version, which I stick behind everything I said about that watch. And by golly, you would have thought I made a video kicking puppies. Ooh. So you'll also notice I've got the Lorier Neptune Generation 3 here to do some comparisons. The cases look the same, but the dimensions are a little bit different, but let's get to it. And so here is today's watch. This is the Lorier Hyperion GMT. You've got a 39 millimeter case, a thickness of just 11.5 millimeters or 11.7 according to the spec sheet. So very, very thin for a GMT watch. 47 millimeters lug to lug, 20 millimeter lug width that tapers down to 16 at the clasp. This is going to be Lorier's traditional and only bracelet that they have currently. So it is an all 316L stainless steel case and bracelet. There's a nice chamfered edge that runs from lug to lug there, giving a nice little light play show, if you will. Let me go ahead and fire it up here. This watch is going to be powered by the Swiss Soprod C125. It's a relatively new movement that beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. So you get that nice smooth sweep of the second hand there, as you can see. The crystal, as is tradition with all Lorier watches, is going to be, they're calling it Hesselite now, but they've always called it plexiglass. Acrylic. Hesselite just sounds so much cooler, doesn't it? So this watch comes in two versions. You have this, which is the black gilt, and you also have the black stainless steel hands, so more like this bad boy right here, so no gilt on that. So you've got gold gilt on the hour, minute, and second hand. Gold for all the minute markers and gold border around all the hour markers. Date complication at the 6 o'clock position, which is actually a roulette date wheel. So what's roulette? Even days are going to be in red, odd days are going to be in black. I will show you that in just a second. The dial is this beautiful glossy black dial, very, very deep black dial. Really neat. The gold writing with the Lorier automatic just below the 12 o'clock position, just above the 6 Hyperion GMT. Really, really, really classy looking. So the dial is all printed, but the hour markers are filled with BGW9 Lume, pretty thickly applied. So you can see there is a little bit of depth to those markers there. Triangle at the 12 o'clock position, and batons at the 3 and 9 position. So you're getting pretty interesting symmetry with the dial, with the date at the 6 o'clock position. So there's nothing that really throws this off visually. It all looks very, very well proportioned and designed. So the bezel is going to be printed, and then it is covered in the Hesselite or acrylic, depending on what you feel like saying for that particular day. But it is a 24-click bezel. Now, I've heard in other reviews that a lot of the first generation of these, or not first generation, but the first run of these, the bezel was really, really tight and hard to move. Mine is very easy to move, so I've had no issues. It is bi-directional, so you're gonna be able to use it the way a GMT would originally have been meant to be used. But I'm gonna say this is borderline loose here, because you can You hear that? It just, there's a little bit of play there. Doesn't really bother me. I would rather have it like this than have it tight, but I don't know if that's a QC issue or what, but it's certainly not a deal breaker in my opinion at all. So it's pretty interesting, the color choice and the acrylic on the bezel insert. It does look a lot like the old Bakelite bezels that the original Rolex GMTs had, that I guess they would fall off all the time, so they had to kind of change that. But it's nice to have that look here. And the red and blue that they've used, it's more of a burgundy style red there than it is, traditional bright red that you would see on, like, say, a Rolex GMT. And just more of like a, it's not like dark navy, it's kind of a lighter blue color there. There you go. You see the looseness of the bezel there on this particular one. But yeah, it is fully lumed as well. So let's go ahead and check out the lume. Well, the lume on first glance is really cool, but it fades, especially the bezel, it fades very, very quickly. Overall, out of a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give the Lume about a 6 on this, so it's not really that great. But again, it's not a dive watch, it's a pilot's watch, so, there you go. So the bracelet, really one of my favorite parts about any Lorier watch. You have drilled lug holes for strap changes. Change your strap very, very easily. I use it all the time. Not really so much on this particular watch because I think it looks good on the bracelet, but with especially like the Neptune and stuff, constantly taking it off the bracelet, putting it on. This is on an Omega NATO strap there, just to class it up. We're gonna increase the value of the watch way too much. But anyway, so yes, the bracelet, very articulated bracelet. Let's see here, so you can kind of see. Yeah, look at that articulation. This is really probably the most comfortable bracelet that I've ever seen and ever worn. You do have screw pins for easy, link sizing. It does come with a screwdriver, so you can size it yourself. You don't have to take it anywhere. The clasp, the same clasp that Lorier uses on all of their watches. 3 micro adjustments. It's so non-intrusive. It's a very small clasp. It looks great. Double pushers. Milled, just a wonderful design, and I really, really like it. So the crown, you do have a signed crown. I wouldn't call it oversized. I'd call it probably just the right size, because when you're looking at the Neptune here, you can see, let me flip her around here. You can see that the Neptune, it's a good bit thicker than what is on the Hyperion. So again, this is a dive watch, with cues from the old big crown Rolexes. So, that's not needed obviously in this one, but it is a signed crown. And taking a look at the case back, it is just the Lorier logo repeated 360 degrees all around the dial. I'm fine with that. A lot of guys are like, this is too plain, but I don't know. I like it. And the thinness of the watch really can't be understated. It is so thin, especially compared to the Neptune. Of course, I got the Neptune on a NATO. But you can see, let me zoom out here. You can see the Neptune is a good bit thicker than this one. So yeah, a really great job in keeping the thinness. And I think that's part of the reason why they switched to the Miyota movements over the Seiko NH35 in their watches. You can make them much thinner because the Neptune Gen 3 is much thinner than Gen 2 and Gen 1 because they switched to the Miyota 90S5, the no-date version of the 9039. So yeah, you're going to get a little bit of a thinner watch, and this is certainly continuing in that fashion. So unscrewing the crown, there isn't a discernible pop or anything. It's just sort of like out there. So that's okay. That doesn't really bother me. So this watch does hack. It does hand wind this movement. So you'll notice the GMT hand is slaved to the hour hand there. Let me get it out of the danger zone here, but let's watch that. Let's watch that roulette date wheel change. So you're going to see it changed from 20 to 21. And the 21 is black. So yeah, odd days are going to be black. Even days are going to be red. I think that's a really nice touch. It would be cool if somebody would do a watch where they just had all red day wheel. I thought that would be really, really cool. Getting out of the danger zone here. All right, so first position is obviously hand winding. Let me do that real quick. So hand winding, you know, it's kind of gritty, but you know, what do you want? So first position, rolling it, or second position, rolling it back, you got the quick set date there. Please excuse my finger. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. I'll try to do it at a different angle. And then rolling it forward, you actually do have the independent GMT hand. So it will jump 1 hour per turn, and you can change it to whatever you would like. So I usually have mine set to LA time. I'm cursed because I'm in the central time zone, so I know that LA is 2 hours behind me and New York is 1 hour ahead of me, so it's really useless. It's just the curse of living in the central time zone. You really don't need a GMT watch at all. But yeah, rolling it forward so you can go ahead and do this. So I guess it wouldn't be like a true GMT. That would be the hour jump that you'd be able to do there. But still, all in all, really, really wicked cool. And here it is out in the natural world on my 7.5-inch wrist, rapidly expanding 7.5-inch wrist. It wears beautiful. It sinks down in the wrist so lovely due to the thinness. It's just such an understated watch. It's just so gorgeous, especially in the sunlight. Just looks fantastic. I think Lorier's done a fantastic job with this release here. And so if you are looking to pick one of these up, you can't. It is sold out on Lorier's website till autumn. So I would assume that's, you know, September, October of this year. But do subscribe to their newsletter because they do tell you when they're going to get new stock of everything. I know the Neptune is also sold out, so good for them. Stuff's selling out, but yeah, get on their waiting list because you're not just going to stumble across this. You need them to tell you when stuff's going to be available. So I've already told you really what I like about this watch, but what do I not like about this watch? Well, you know, the bezel wobble there, you know, it's a little disappointing, but I think, like I said earlier, I'd rather have it like this. The other thing is, and I know a lot of guys say this is a deal breaker, the Hesselite crystal, it's going to scratch. Let me pull up my Neptune here. You can kind of see. You can see, yeah, see up at the 1 and 2 o'clock position, I've got some scratches. I just took this across country in an RV for 2 weeks. So, and it came back with just that on there. But each of the Lorier watches now, it comes with poly watch, and it comes with a gigantic polishing cloth, so you can polish, you know, that with some, you know, poly watch there if you want. They all come with this really cool travel case to protect your watch when you're not wearing it. So yeah, all in all, good on Lorier's part. I guess probably the final thing, the price, you know, the price that this is, which I believe it's $7.99 if I'm thinking off the top of my head. That seems a little steep to me. I think you're getting into the, you know, you could maybe look at some bigger brands at that particular price. So I'm not sure what this really offers in value, but in design, it's just, you know, almost a one of a kind. It takes all the great elements from all of the GMT watches that we've loved over the years, and it kind of puts them into one awesome package. So can you put a price on that? I don't know. Probably not. But I think, you know, maybe they could work on the price. But again, I know their cost is probably pretty high at this point. So for them to keep their costs or keep their prices pretty much the same as what they were a year ago right now is pretty good. So I can't really fault them for that at all. But that is all I have today for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. This is such a cool watch. I definitely recommend it. I think you can pick it up and be super, super happy with it. And I will see you next time.